There she is. Oh, look, AZ Fun. Look
Shocker.
at her. Look how cute.
Aww.
Yeah, who would have thought that AZ would be there? Okay, so obviously, as we know, Paige Bueckers drafted as the #1 overall pick to the Dallas Wings. Nobody's surprised. But I did hear Gino Auriemma, who was also drafted #1 overall, she talked about the fact that even though everybody around her was talking about the fact that she was going to get drafted #1 overall, she still didn't know she was going to get drafted #1 overall. So I would imagine that even though Paige knew it, there was still some questions in her mind. Like, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen.
No.
So it actually happened.
Look at that, just like that. Just as everyone had predicted. Paige, how did you not know that you were going to get drafted overall #1? Look at that move right there. Her ability to create space is so impressive. But still, this is something Paige Bueckers has earned. And you think about her taking, another year in college. Maybe last year at the draft, she wouldn't have been the #1 overall pick. You don't know. I love that she stayed another year in college. She got that championship. She is ready to rock at the next level.
I'm just happy for her. Seriously, there was a point in time where it's like, oh my gosh, is she going to get past this injury stuff?
I know.
Yeah.
Legitimately. And to have it turned around and just the player that she has even become by her own standards I am just very happy for her. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great.
You a Paige Bueckers jersey?
I need
Dallas?
one.
Yeah, we'll get you one.
Paige also is
Before she gets traded to Sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Paige also is just a good human, so it's good to just watch this happen. There's Gino, of course, there as well, looking all emotional. Not like he hasn't had #1 overall picks ever.
Right.
His
I will
time
say,
as the head coach.
his relationship with Paige seems really special,
Yeah.
too.
Different,
The way that they talk to each other, joke with each other, razz each other a little bit. He was so emotional when they won the national championship game in a way that we're not used to seeing him get emotional. Look at that.
See, this is what I'm talking about. We all knew. But, look at how excited they
But
are.
still, it's exciting.
Yeah. And she ended a drought for Gino, 9 years without a title.
That's crazy.
I was am I reading this correctly?
It's insane.
Has it really been that long? Because it doesn't seem like it.
I do have a question, because this is another question that I talked about post the national championship. When is the right time and we're going off script here. When is the right time for Gino to retire?
Go off into the sunset right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Go off into the sunset. Enjoy your wine.
Yeah, I mean.
He gets a #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I mean, because here's the thing, right? You have players, we already know, Sarah Strong is a freshman.
Love her.
Do you wait until she graduates, but then there's going to be other players coming through.
Coaches definitely do think that way. I was literally, we talked about the state of Indiana earlier. I was literally talking to a high school basketball coach a month ago who was like, I'm retiring after my 8th grade class because I think that they're the class. Coaches think that way. So he probably looks at Sarah Strong. Whenever she's done, maybe that's when he'll be done.
But how do you know that the next class isn't going to have that same emotional reaction?
Here's the one thing, though. Coaches now have to deal with the transfer portal and NIL, and it's a whole different ball game. You won your national championship. You cut down the nets. I think Paige probably stole the net necklace. Come on. Go hang out.
Let's just
go
say,
to the Jersey Shore
let's just
and
say
hang out.
they have another 9-year drought. You're going to be 80 when you win your next national championship. I personally think that Gino should probably.
Honestly, he should call it quits. If you've never read the story that Wright Thompson wrote on Gino, I don't know how many years ago now, but basically describing just the emotional stress that he constantly puts himself under because his standard is not just championship, it is undefeated, it is nothing but winning.
Yeah.
I want peace for that man.
And he's going to go down as the all-time winningest, or as the all-time greatest.
Yeah, 12 national championships. It's huge for him. Okay, so we now know that Paige Bueckers is going to be in Dallas. And you talked a little bit about her playing with Auriemma, but what do you think the Dallas Wings ceiling is with her in Dallas?
Well, it's going to be important that her and Auriemma Gubawale get some chemistry together because playing with Auriemma, she can play with the ball in her hand, she can play off the ball, but she's going to be getting the shots. Make no mistake when you go to that Dallas team. So Paige is going to step into a role where she's going to be creating a lot for Auriemma, but also finding ways to create for herself. And it comes with mixing up how you score. I love her in the mid-range. That's kind of become a lost art in a sense, but Paige does that well. And I like how she's reading ball screens. You're going to see a ton of ball screen offense at the next level. Paige does a great job not reading just the primary defender, but that second line of defense and making the right decision.
And you talked about creating for Auriemma. She had by far the most unassisted field goals last season. It was a joke. And I mean, some games you watched the Wings last year and it's like, okay, well, shoot, if Auriemma doesn't get it done tonight, it ain't getting done.
Yeah.
She's not going to have to worry about that this year. And I think one of the things, too, in hearing Gino talk about Paige and the difference between her this year during the NCAA tournament and last year was she can be a little bit more comfortable even in her own game because she doesn't have to be the only creator, and she's not the only scorer on her team. So basically, Auriemma and Paige now benefit from sort of that same X factor.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but I do think that they are going to bring out the best in each other.
So one thing I think about the fact that Paige did have the journey that she had was the fact that she's able to get drafted #1 overall, where last year Caitlin Clark got drafted #1 overall when they came in together. But I do wonder if she's going to have the immediate impact on the W in a similar way that Caitlin did.
I don't know if we're going to see a player have an immediate impact on the W the way Caitlin Clark did last season, kind of like a phenom almost, if you will. Paige Bueckers coming in, and look at the team too that she's going to be on. There's already a superstar on Dallas in Agumbawale, right? So like, it's not like Paige is going to come in and get all the shots. Not to mention they have a new head coach. There's going to be a new system, if you will, and a new group of players to learn how to play with. So Paige, the one thing she has going for her, she's really smart. So to me, that's going to help her. She's definitely going to play and get a ton of minutes, but I don't think she's going to be that huge star because Dallas already has a star on their roster.
Yeah, that
100%.
Makes sense.
And I think, too, the other important piece of it is I think this year is interesting because you have sort of seen a lot of people, especially in more broad sports media, talk about, oh, well Paige doesn't have the same effect, the same hype as Caitlin Clark. And it's like, but you're kind of missing the point here. Like now, to me, and you sort of mentioned it with like this rookie class setting their own standard too compared to last year's. Like this is still this is the natural progression of sports. This is how this goes. Paige is going to set her own standard and help set the culture for a Dallas team that has been desperate for it over the last few years. And I think that is more significant than even just sort of this unique outreach that Caitlin had produced, right? Like that has been had. Now it's like, okay, let's build up these individual franchises.
All right, can't wait to see her in Dallas.